I'm Toko, the voice of young Africa. I use TV and media to provoke conversations in innovation, mental health, and entrepreneurship. And I am the founder and CEO of Crystal Television, and in today's video, I will be discussing the hard truth of entrepreneurship. I have had a lot of young people ask me questions like, Tokozani, what's entrepreneurship like? Is it better than having a job? What would you advise somebody who has a 9 to 7? Should they leave their job for entrepreneurship? Well, today I will be answering the hard truth, the stuff that most people do not talk about. Because I know when we think entrepreneurship, we're thinking vacations, glamour, magazine covers like Elon Musk. And I do understand. I got that. I still have that vision sometimes. But we're going to discuss what entrepreneurship really is. So my first point, I did put some points on this phone in my notebook that I will be sharing with you guys based off of my personal experience and other people's experiences based off of my observation. And the first point being financial instability and uncertainty. When you start, it's like a curve. You start with optimism, right? You don't know where you're going, but what's driving you is the future, what you're going to attain, what you envision, because you romanticize the entire journey. And in most cases, you're not really prepared because you do not know what to prepare. Do I have to do a financial plan? Do I sell? Do I create a page? Do I do this? Do I do that? So, breaking more on the financial instability and uncertainty. When you start, most of the time you do not have financial capital saved up. Others are lucky enough to save up some money, others are not. So most of the time startups are funded by the 3 F's: friends, family, and fools. And in some cases, these people might laugh at you, demoralize you, but they're the ones that usually take out the money for you to start putting your first product out on the market. And as an entrepreneur, a startup entrepreneur, you will face a lot of financial challenges, financial instability, and a lot of financial insecurity, uncertainty as well, because the times when your money runs out, you might get into debt because for some reason, I don't know what devil or angel whispers in our ears and says, go borrow money, you're going to make more money when you borrow, without a clear plan. You borrow money, you do not know how to use it to scale. Should it go into marketing? Should it go into branding? And sometimes we inject all of the borrowed money into a product that is not properly marketed and ends up failing miserably. But should that let you stop? Well, it depends. What is your why? Why did you start entrepreneurship? Did you start it because it's a backup plan or because it's your passion and you want to make other people's lives easier? Work-life balance. Guys, I get people asking me, Topo, how old are you? Do you go out? Do you enjoy yourself? Do you spend time living life? Or you spend it working? Yesterday was a holiday. I was working. I was at the office. I was there from 8 till 17:30. And the older people there were laughing at me saying, this girl's a workaholic. She works on holidays. I was working on my birthday. I didn't go out. I didn't do any of that stuff. I'm not saying when you're an entrepreneur, you don't celebrate your birthdays anymore. It's dependent on who you are and what it is that you prioritize. But deciding to be an entrepreneur means a lot of sacrifice. That's inclusive certain things that you love to do in your everyday life. So for me, how do I balance my work? I usually start my day at 3, and it's not an everyday thing, guys. I'll be very realistic, but I can proudly say that I've been very consistent recently. I start my day at 3. I force myself to sleep at 10. I have trouble sleeping, but I force myself to sleep at 10 p.m. I wake up at 3. I journal. I write the 10 things I'm grateful for that morning and for the previous day. And then I fast forward, do a bit of breath work, pray, and just spend some time doing some personal reflection and preparing my mind for the day ahead. I always make sure everything, if there's chores needed to be done, is done by 6. I'm out of the house by 6:30 or 7. And if I'm working from home that particular day, I do let myself sleep in the afternoon for 2 hours, an hour to 2 hours. It just helps recuperate that my brain basically, and my schedule. And how do I handle my relationships outside of work and the like, friendships, family, and all of that stuff? Well, I know that I'm supposed to work on this particular day to this particular day. I do have days in a month, maybe once or twice a month, when I would go out and hang out with my friends. And then I also do take myself out on dates, solo dates. I go out on solo dates and just take some time to admire and just enjoy my own presence. And I also do gym. I recommend, if you're an entrepreneur, do something. It might be running, it might be anything that will make you move, any sort of exercise. All of that stress, because you will be stressed, you will be angry, you will be upset. You have moments where you wake up at 2 in the morning crying. This is the reality of entrepreneurship, because people depend on you. People's salaries, families depend on you. And if you do not do your work, people suffer in return. So it's your responsibility to wake up and constantly balance that. But also I use an app as well to just track what I have to do, so I know what I'm supposed to do every morning, my morning routine. And every time somebody requests for me to make an appearance somewhere, to speak or to attend an event, I always put it on my calendar, so I have reminders. Okay, so mental health struggles. Entrepreneurship. Like I said, there are moments you wake up at 2 in the morning to cry and ask yourself, why did I start this? But is it worth it? Yes. Again, that's why your why is important. And even if you're not an entrepreneur, I recommend therapy. And this notion of Black people don't do therapy should end with our generation. I am a huge believer in therapy because I've seen how it's helped me balance my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual being. Because we're not beings that exist on one plane, but on different planes. And I mean this on the emotional planes, spiritual plane, physical plane, intellectual plane, social plane, and all of that stuff. So I always make sure that I do therapy. I speak to people that are qualified, and I always just make sure I put my mental health first, because I cannot serve from an empty cup. I need to make sure my cup is full before I go out there and pour out. So yeah, that, and I journal, I read books, and I do a lot of breath work, guys, throughout the day. For me to be mentally sane, I do a lot of breath work. It helps as well just to make sure that I am realigned with my goals, and also just visiting my vision board. My vision board reminds me why I started this in the first place. So it also just realigns with what it is that I am working on. Failure and resilience. If you're an entrepreneur, you're going to need to have grit. You're going to need to have determination, and you're going to need to have desire. Nobody, and faith as well, nobody is going to do this for you. No one is coming to save you. That notion of Snow White waiting for a prince to kiss her, there is no true love's kiss in entrepreneurship. You're your own hero. You are the person who's going to lift yourself up when you fall. And you will fail a number of times. But then failure doesn't mean that you have to give up. Failure is only a sign that the method that you used does not work. So try a different method and try and see if it's going to work. Imagine if Thomas Edison gave up the first time he tried his light bulb. Or if Henry Ford gave up the first time he tried with the vehicles and the cylinders, the engines. You mechanical guys understand that stuff. So when you fail, be resilient. How have I handled failure as an entrepreneur? Failure is a very common thing. I think I'm even used to failure. Like when I get a no or when I fail, I always sit down with my team, look at, do a re-evaluation, a step by step. How did we fail? What can we do differently? What is it that we can do to make our results different from what we got before? And my final point is networking and relationships. I want to overemphasize. Most of the time when we start a business, our main goal is to just start making money immediately, but which is one of the things that makes startups fail in the first 18 months of their existence. Over the years, I've learned how powerful networking is. Building a network is more powerful than getting instant gratification. Delay your gratification and focus on building your network. How do you do this? Especially last year, I signed up for a lot of incubator hubs. I made sure I got incubated and learned from industry experts and people that came before me in the entrepreneurship space. And in those places, I networked with the people that own businesses outside of me that are at that particular place. I made sure that I built a network of people that I can trust and can trust me. And I constantly feed those relationships, by the way. So that when I have a project as well, I'm able to get a phone call and say, oh, I have a project. Can your company fund this? Or, oh, I have a project. I want you guys to do ads on this. And I need you guys to do this and that and that. And other than that, people will mention your name in rooms that you never thought. I have seen this work. And for me, every time I attend an event, I always do a background check. I no longer attend events like a headless chicken with chingui no plan. It's a local proverb meaning a hyena without a plan. You're just moving endlessly. I do a background check, and I always try to see if they'll align. As a startup entrepreneur, it's very easy, especially when you start getting recognition, to sway and start working on other things that do not align with your business. Your business starts crumbling, and you spend so much time and money trying to look like a successful entrepreneur on LinkedIn instead of realigning. So research who's coming through, how can your vision align, and if there's a speaker or an influential person that you'd love to learn from, ask them out for coffee. Some will play hard to get. Never give up. Be very polite, be very patient, and have grit, have desire, and never let anybody tell you that will not work. Just because it didn't work for them doesn't mean it won't work for you. Try different methods, but if you have a goal, nothing is impossible, and I'm still learning that, honestly. And yeah, it's been amazing hosting this. You guys do comment down below if there is any other topic entrepreneurship related that you'd want me to touch on. Have a blessed day. Bye bye.